Good evening, greetings, and salutations. This is Passionate Bliss, and I'm here again tonight with questions, comments, and useless facts about me. First, go to my passionatebliss.myshopify.com, get a Black Love t-shirt. Okay, this is a relationship channel, and my goal in this channel is to reconnect Black men and Black women because of the decline in our community. Vital statistics are out there showing that we're in a state of decline. One of the results of us not being together is the fact that we have children growing up at a 72% rate in a single parent household. They don't often have the tools or the skills needed or demonstrated to them how to communicate with each other effectively. So we have to have dialogue to fix the issue that we're separated, and it's not to the benefit of our community. Okay, and so I want to discuss tools to communication. My questions are these. Number one, do you have the tools that are necessary to have these types of conversation that would result in reunification? And if it's pointed out to you, or if it becomes evident that you don't have the tools needed to have that kind of conversation, are you willing to, number one, admit it, and number two, go get them? Because if you are, I want to discuss those tools, okay? Because I need to believe that we are willing to have that conversation. We are willing to get the tools. And so let's discuss those tools, because as my quote for today would indicate, it's this. There are two things, okay, that can destroy any successful relationships. One is unrealistic expectation. The other is poor communication. We have to work on communication, and we need the tools. I want us to have the tools, so let's discuss it. One of the most important tools that I have found in communication is comprehension. I am often very surprised at how poor our level of comprehension has become. You will hear people responding to something that you've said, stating that you said something you never said. Okay, and I'm floored repeatedly at the lack of comprehension. So, what is a good tool to help us beef up our comprehension? One of the most beneficial tools I found to improve comprehension is definitions. Okay, definitions often set a standards. Definitions help us to establish a frame of reference when you're talking to someone. And the way we can get the definition is from the dictionary, y'all. And so that's why I titled this video, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark or the Dictionary. Okay. And so different definitions are key to helping us comprehend and communicate effectively. I have some terms that I have set up. I have a very complex diagram here that's going to help us, break it down and see what terms do we need to define when we're trying to communicate effectively. Because remember, based on our complex diagram here, our goal is reconnection and reunion, okay, of the Black man and the Black woman. How are we going to do that? We have to have dialogue. So let's define dialogue, okay? Dialogue, a conversation to resolve a problem. When your conversation is directed at problem solving, you're having dialogue, okay? So in line with that definition, what is a conversation? But first, let's show what dialogue is going to require. Dialogue is going to require communication. What is communication? The definition for that: the exchange of information, ideas, feelings, or opinions, both verbal and nonverbal. And that's a two-way thing. Has to be two-way. Okay? And when we have this communication, that is brought about through conversation. Now, the definition of conversation, what is that? Conversation, a talk between two or more people where ideas are exchanged. So communication requires exchange of ideas. Conversation is an exchange of ideas. Conversation comes in many forms, as pointed out by our complex diagram here. Conversation can take place in these forms. Debate. What is debate? Debate is a two-way discourse that is competitive. So is that appropriate for dialogue, where you're going to solve a problem, to be competitive, to be debating? No. Okay. The next one is discourse. Discourse is one-way conversation. You're only conveying info, like a lecture. Okay. Are you going to solve a problem through a lecture? No, only one person is exchanging ideas. Okay. The next one is dialogue. That's a two-way exchange. of information that helps you to build relationships. If you're going to be solving a problem together, you need to have some kind of relationship that's effective, hopefully. Diatribe. Diatribe, what's that? A one-way competitive expression of emotion. It includes browbeating, but it also includes inspiration, but it's one way. So that you can't really solve a problem with someone, two different parties, if it's one way, okay? And also interview. That's a form of conversation. Because I actually was on a panel and someone said, this is an interview. This isn't a conversation. I didn't say anything because I was going to do a video where the definition, by definition, an interview is this. Interview, a structured conversation. Because sometimes we don't even recognize that a conversation is taking place. And so we need those definitions to let us know, yeah, an interview is actually a conversation. It's structured though, okay? And so once we have these definitions, we can have conversations. Conversation will lead to communication, and a communication will spark dialogue where we're solving the problems and we're reuniting before we know it. What do you think about that? Are you ready? Can we use these tools? Are you afraid of the dictionary now? Are you still afraid? Don't be, because we got a lot of work to do. With that being said, y'all have sweet